this PDF download, and it's very definitive. So, listen, there's no one diet for everybody. I've been a vegan. I've been a keto diet. I'm mostly Mediterranean, but the things I've discovered is, number one, sugar is a poison. Minimizing your sugar and why. Whole plants are critically important. Even the order in which you eat your food matters. Like if you're given, like you go out for dinner at a restaurant, when they bring you the bread and the wine, ask them to bring it back during the dinner course. If you're going to eat the bread, at least dip it in olive oil first.
Talking for glucose absorption.
We're talking about not spiking your glucose immediately, right? Which is the worst thing you can do. It really drives you to.
So why bring it back? Is it eating proteins first?
So what you want to do is on your plate, eat your vegetables first. If it's asparagus, if it's broccoli, if it's a salad, the fiber slows down your digestion. Eat your protein next, and then eat your carbs last. It slows down your sugar spike. It actually allows you to absorb the best nutrients out of your plate of food first. So even making that small, you'll lose weight, you'll get better nutrition, and you'll actually feel full having eaten the best stuff first. Right? So it's just a really small trick that I'm just like, once I learned that, I was like, okay, I need to tell everybody about that. It's just small. The order in which you eat your food matters, right? So there's a whole bunch about diet there. Exercise is probably the single most important thing. I have stepped up my exercise from like 2 or 3 days a week to 5 days a week.
Your physique has changed dramatically.
Yeah. I've added muscle. I mean, it's my goal to add muscle. Muscle is one of the most important pro-longevity parts of your life.
Are you doing TRT?
I am. I do take a certain amount of testosterone, and it's simply, I don't actually feel different. I am taking a small amount of testosterone simply to support muscle growth.
Do you base it on blood levels?
I do.
What do you steer towards?
I'm staying in like 800 range, and sometimes up to 1,000. But
does it increase your libido?
It doesn't. It doesn't impact my. It
Interesting.
doesn't touch my libido.
What?
Doesn't.
That's
my libido is fine, but I don't. If I'm off it or on it, it doesn't make a difference. And people who've got I don't think I exhibit grouchy old man syndrome. So I'm like the most positive person I know.
No doubt.
But I'm using it specifically for supporting muscle mass, but then I'm doing 150 grams of protein a day. I'm having creatine. I'm taking amino acid supplementation. I'm focused on adding muscle mass. As you grow older, adding muscle becomes harder and harder.
Yeah.
And one of the unfortunate mechanisms that a lot of people die as they go into their 70s and 80s, I'm 62 right now, is you fall because of muscle weakness. You break a pelvis or a hip. You end up in the hospital. It's painful to breathe. You get a pneumonia and you're down for the count, right? It's happened to my dad. Happens to a lot of people. And the survival rate post a hip or pelvis fracture, if you're over 70, is like really low. So you don't want to do that. You want to maintain muscle mass. It also maintains your stem cell population and your blood in your muscles. So there's an interesting stat. I memorized this one because it was important. If you're over 60 and you can exercise, doesn't have to be super intense, but some resistance exercises can be with or without weights, twice a week. It reduces your all-cause mortality by 50% and reduces your chance of cancer by threefold.
Whoa.
Yeah. Your body, the signals you give your body from exercise and moving is that I'm still useful. I still want to be here, right? The other thing in the mental game is don't retire. This is the Longevity Practices book, and there's a whole section on mindset here, and I just think it's really so important. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, in a study of 69,744 women and 1,429 men, this is unusual because it's more women than men, published in the prestigious journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, super high-end peer-reviewed publication. It was found that optimistic people lived as much as 15% longer than pessimists.
15?
1-5.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. Your mindset matters. And, making use of your body and being out there and having purpose. And all of these things are subtle clues, right? We all know people that very close to their husband or wife and their spouse dies and then they die weeks later, right? Here's another story here. One of my favorite stories illustrating the power of mind over a lifespan comes from the annals of American history. As it turns out, in an extraordinary demonstration of the will to live, two of America's founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, both willed themselves to live long enough to see the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
Wow.
Even though in the early 1800s, the average lifespan was only 44 years old, Jefferson, who was then 83, and Adams, who was 90, made it to July 4th, 1826, both dying on that exact date, the 50th anniversary of the nation's founding.
Wow.
Amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I love that story. Having purpose in life, being optimistic, making use of your body, all of these things are fundamental. And when I think about a longevity mindset, it is really, I live with this every day. I care about this every day. I think this is the most exciting time ever in human history to be alive with what's going on and opening up the space frontier with
because
AI.
Because of the rate of change?
Because of the rate of change, because of the rate of potential. It's like an infinite, if you were born 100 years ago, and every year, right, at my Abundance 360 Summit, I look back 100 years and I look at what was life like 100 years ago and what was the rate of innovation 100 years ago. And the numbers and the examples are crazily slow. And I don't remember 1923. I remember 1922. There were 7 breakthroughs in that year. I mean, not like a 7 in a week or 7 in a month. It was 7 in the entire year. And I searched everywhere: patent filings, headlines, write-ups. And so it was like the water ski was invented. A mechanical garage door opener, a retractable roof for the Ford Model T. Vegemite was on the list. I mean, I was searching for stuff. I was searching for stuff.
When
right?
one of the 7 is Vegemite, we're in trouble.
A blender for making malts, and it was like the pace of change was so slow. And we're living in a world today where there's massive breakthroughs, every hour of the day.
It's a rate of change, though, that I think now is giving people anxiety.
Absolutely.
How do you help people navigate that?